Powerful film to come, we know, and a powerful exhibition at the New York Historical Society in 2017. But now, it's my pleasure to invite to the podium Wynton Marsalis, the world's most respected and influential jazz trumpet player alive today, as well as managing and artistic director of jazz at Lincoln Center. At the close of our program, Wynton, together with pianist Dan Nimmer, will also offer a special musical tribute. Wynton Marsalis.
Thank you very much. It's such a pleasure to be here tonight. As a matter of fact, I'm afraid to fly, and I have to go to California, and I would be in a car right now because I will drive those 48 hours with no problem. But I wanted to so desperately to present this award that I am going to be as scared as possible tomorrow on an airplane, making it to my gig. Thelonious Monk answered the question, what's happening, Thelonious? With everything, it's happening all the time, man. It's funny but true. In our country alone, we swim a brimming sea of over 320 million people and roughly 200 billion points of view per second. But in the bowels of this cacophony, we can find a startling commonality in our individuality. We're all simply the kid from Omaha, or Red Bank, or Anchorage, or Seattle. We all sat in the same classrooms and paid attention or didn't pay attention, played the same games or we felt left out. We were wealthy or broke or everything in between, and regardless, we all wrestled with some kind of familial dysfunction, and all of us dreamed beyond the limited scope of what was agreed to be reality. And slowly and sadly, the boldest of those dreams easily becomes ground to dust by the repetition of days become weeks, become decades, become centuries, and life becomes protocol. Before you know it, you are living a mundane set of rituals and daily touchstones that you could virtually sleepwalk through without actually experiencing. And because we only understand a present moment as it fades to memory, history could also mean understanding. You know, old folks used to say, if you have a long memory, you have a long life. And history is our memory. And as such, it is the province of artists as storytellers. Those artists recreate the stories that tell us what things mean, what things have meant. And if those stories are insightful and intense enough, they are also accurate in telling us what things will mean. Well, it's always much easier to do less of something that is difficult to do. Where there is struggle, you will find circumvention, if not flat-out avoidance. It's easy to just memorize the dry facts of our history in lieu of engaging with the human meaning of it. But beyond the mask of dates and defunct names lies the rich vein of humanity that defines the best and worst of us as a people. These very subjective facts are easily forgotten or omitted as we reshape the story of ourselves with repetitive slogans. George Washington could not tell a lie. It's far less interesting than the lies he actually told. The fact of chattel slavery as a blue chip on the New York Stock Exchange is much more interesting than the simple demonizing of plantation owners. The most heroic aspect of historic storytelling entails leading a people to embrace aspects of their personality that they would rather forget or alter. Because in that forgetting and the repetition of what has been forgotten, the lies upon lies creates a virtual foundation which becomes more and more shaky as the pressures of time and the uncontrollable facts and truth of circumstances forces us to live up and not down to our heritage. The enlightened historian and storyteller sifts through hopes and aspirations of a people and focuses the light on this, that, or the other to establish, reorder, or repurpose their mythology. No film, no story, No music, no piece of art can tell the all of anything, let alone everything. It picks and chooses those most resonant gems that are representative anecdotes for so much more. So when Monk said, man, everything is happening all the time, he was giving tonight's honoree an answer to his most frequently asked question: why did you leave this or that out? People are not known for what they don't do. And although many would want to control the definition of our past, so few are qualified, many less are accepted, and almost no one is celebrated for their mastery of it. Now, awards are strange things because the honoree must sit in embarrassed pride and listen to their accomplishments. They are required to feign humility and act with an aw shucks awkwardness when saluted. And the higher the salutation, the lower the awardee must sink under the table. Well, tonight, I want you to enjoy what I have the pleasure of saying and representing what we at the New York Historical Society know to be true. We honor you because we respect your values, your achievements, and your art, and we would like them to be known and replicated in our future generations. We know that your work realizes the dreams of our ancestors and raises the horizon of aspiration in our youth. And your powers of concentration, imagination, and dedication are legendary. Italian painter Giotto created perspective, and the Spaniard Picasso showed us all of the dimensions of a face in somebody's nose. Well, there's somebody who was born in Brooklyn that showed us how to perceive new and different dimensions of our history, how to channel the 20 billion democratic perspectives into a cohesive statement, how to show the good and bad of any position in one frame, all while making you conclude something good about it. You brought the oftentimes accurate views of the disenfranchised out of the shadowy background into the foreground. You have taught us how to weave the human constant into our history and perceive it not as facts of presidents and wars and edicts, but as human interactions and human responses and human consequences that don't so much change over time as play out on the field of time. You invented a new way of presenting history by mining the rich vein of universal fundamentals that just don't change: loneliness and camaraderie, triumph and heartbreak, familial dysfunction and familial nurturing, physical frailty and strength, hubris and heroism, intelligence and stupidity, greed and generosity, jealousy and love, all woven into a seamless tapestry of now. You are a master of timing and of knowing the sweet spot of a story, a master of knowing how to ask questions to get to the basic human feeling and to draw out the true spirit of a given subject from a reluctant subject. You're a master of the long form in a time of shortening attention spans, dominating multiple nights of weeks with events that change our perception of the lives we live, while conceding nothing to the garish, the foolish, or the spectacle that passes for entertainment. As evidenced by tonight's debate, it's a known fact that things fall. Test scores fall, employment opportunities fall, work ethic falls, and manners fall. The only things rising are crime, the global temperature, and time wasted on mobile devices. But somehow, with your charisma, drive, and obsessive genius, you've managed to win the long uphill battle to plant the flag of our highest hopes on the highest ground. And you're easy to work with because you are exacting and have one instruction: keep doing it until it's right. And if it's not right, hey man, let's do this again. Let's do it again. It's got to be right. And when we look at you tonight, we see a man who is over 60 years of age, sitting up here looking like a boy in the first bloom of youth, excited about our coming Vietnam film and all engaged with our national election. You found the secret of youthfulness, an indefatigable appetite for work, and a joyous optimism that springs from an indestructible belief that the work you are doing changes lives and is elevating the landscape of our country's knowing of itself. I don't want y'all to let that boyish face fool you. This is a man of steely resolve whose vision is set on the betterment of the world, because you understand that what's at stake is life itself. And because you work like every day is your last, the intensity of the light you have lit will illuminate a clear path for generations to come. And in America, our strongest art is the democratic working of teams. We work by consensus and reasoned compromise. No film is the work of one man, but of course, the more people, the more dysfunction. Working with folks is an art itself, one that the quality and longevity of your teams demonstrate you have mastered. With great producer and sometimes co-director Lynn Novick, writer and producer Dayton Duncan, editors Paul Barnes, Trish Reedy, and Eric Uers, and countless others, you have set an unwavering high bar for quality in all aspects of filmmaking. I wish to conclude with some words from a man who has been in so many ways your principal collaborator, the soulful historian, Mr. Jeffrey Ward. You all have worked closely for 34 years to answer the question, who are we as Americans and what can America become? Jeff says, after all this time, I love and am inspired by what we do. From the first, he has understood that we're all in this together. Black history is white history, is American history. No one owns our past. Everyone has a stake in it. He has also, give Jeff something. I'm not going to stop you. There he is right there. He has also always understood that the men and women whose stories we tell were in every sense just like us, bold and devious, brave and fearful, enlightened and ignorant, defeated and victorious. That fact should reassure, not intimidate us, because to know them and what they did is to begin to know ourselves and to see what we might do. And best of all, in cynical times, he deeply believes and has proven again and again that there are millions of people out here who want to know who we have been so that we can improve who we are. My friend, you have given us a much cleaner and reliable memory. And with so many crucial decisions bombarding us, that is as good as giving life itself. The shame is, your work will impact generations, and you won't see the uplift and the effect of it on the future of our nation and on our planet. We at the New York Historical Society are honored to give the 2016 History Makers Award to a man of distinction, integrity, and courage, Mr. Ken Burns.
Don't follow Wynton Marsalis. Distinguished guests.